Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
You have a small group and low turnover. What's the secret?
Well, the secret is to, if you can in life, work at what you love with people you love.
As I've always said, love what you do, and you'll enjoy doing it forever.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
We start off today's show with a thought-provoking question, and here goes. What is it you love doing? And assuming you have something you love doing, how much time do you spend enjoying what you love so much to do? It's a great question, and one that all red-blooded Americans might wish to ask themselves, whether one is still working at a job or whether the person is already retired. Because let's face it, when you love what you do, you are going to enjoy life that much more. And as the great investor Warren Buffett puts it in his investment firm Berkshire Hathaway, they only look to acquire companies whose owners love what they do as well. So why is loving what you do in life so important to a worry-free retirement? Well, let's find out as we explore this most interesting of topics for savers and advisors who serve them. Love what you do and enjoy doing it forever. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we share with you how to focus on the things you love and enjoy while avoiding those things you don't, let me introduce to you in the studio America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good morning, Aaron, on this March 12th?
12th, that's right.
2024. How you doing?
Good morning to you, sir, and good morning, audience.
And there's Derek over there at the helm. Folks, again, in case you don't know this, I had somebody in yesterday, Aaron, in the office here in Louisville, and I said, how did you find out about us? And he said, oh, gosh, I listen to the radio show all the time. And I said, what, do you ever see the TV show? And he said, I didn't know you had one. So, folks, every week we record a radio show and a television show. And, Aaron, for those who maybe, don't, I don't know, you never know with TV, whether they even watch TV anymore, but tell them about the YouTube channel. That might be a good thing to point them to if they want to watch past episodes.
Sure, no problem. Folks, all you got to do is really easy. Just go to youtube.com. That's youtube.com. And right there in the top, there's a search bar. Just type in Tony Walker Financial and click search, and there you go. You'll see Tony's smiling face. Just click on that. You're going to find not only past episodes of the Worry-Free Retirement, you're going to find all kinds of video content on there. Tony, I know we don't really do workshops anymore, but we've got some workshops on there in case anybody's interested in those.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, we've got so much video content. I think we've got it set up now. I know Derek and you and Trey work on this a lot, but can't you go to the YouTube channel and kind of query? Could I enter Derek Social Security and pull up those videos?
Yeah, you can go to there's another search bar that you can type in if you're looking for specific information on
there you
such
go.
Things as annuities, IRAs, things of that nature.
Okay, so don't forget about that, folks. But all right, let's get back to our thought-provoking question. And you might be thinking, well, Tony, I thought this was a retirement planning show. What are you talking about, doing the things you love and all that? Well, folks, as you're going to find out, there's two aspects of this whole love thing. First of all, it's you're the saver, you're our potential client, and we want our clients to enjoy their money. That's the whole part of the worry-free retirements that's unique. Many in the financial world, continue to cast fear, and they want you to stockpile money, and they're telling you you're going to live a long time, you might run out of money, so you better not spend the money. We're quite the opposite. We, through our experience in working with over 3,000 saver clients, watching all these people's lives play out in retirement, we understand that this gig ain't going to last forever. Things will change in retirement. And again, that's why you better have an advisor that loves what they do. And in turn, if that advisor loves what they do, which you're going to find out I really love what I do, folks, for a living, they're going to try to help you enjoy this money. I mean, Aaron, think about that. Just from a common sense standpoint, we've talked about this on the show many times, but how long do you think the average person works, and I mean works hard, and saves money for the future? What do you think the average span of a work life is?
Oh, I mean, anywhere from 50 to 60 years.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, you think about when you first started working, I mean, so let's just even cut it back and say 40 years. Let's say you work 40 years. Let's take it from 25 to 65, just because that's a magic age people think about. So you retired 65, Aaron, and we've covered on the show. So from that point moving forward, how many really good years do you think the average person has once they hit 65 to truly enjoy the fruits of their labor? How many years?
Starting at 65?
65.
Folks, I'm going to be honest, you probably got 10, 15 years if you're lucky.
Yeah, so let's think about that. So you've worked hard. Hopefully you've worked at a job you've enjoyed. I know some of you don't really enjoy your work that much anymore. I know things have changed a lot, especially since COVID. Gosh, I meet with 30 to 40 people a week, so I've got this constant focus group in front of me, and I'm just hearing from more and more people that they're burned out, or things at work are not the same since COVID, or management's different. But so there you are. Maybe you're working a job you don't enjoy anymore, and what people are coming into me every day, Aaron, they're saying, can I retire? And really what they're saying is, can I now please start enjoying what I've worked so hard to save? And sometimes you're going to find, folks, that it's not really the high-paying jobs that provide the most satisfaction. When we come back, I'm going to talk about an interesting survey. And while definitely we all want to make money at whatever we do, and I've been fortunate in this profession now that I'm at this stage working nearly 40 years in the financial world, I'm making some good money. You know, I could walk away and retire now, and I'll tell you later why I'm not going to do that. But it's interesting that some of the most satisfying jobs are the jobs that actually pay the least amount of money. And we're going to kind of explore why that is as we continue our topic on love what you do so you can hopefully keep enjoying it forever. I'm Tony Walker along with Aaron Orander. You are listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. We will be right back.
Our employee spotlight shines brightly on Miss Leanne Tinsley. Good morning, Leanne.
Morning, Tony.
Appreciate you coming to be with us. And first of all, tell us, when did you actually start with Tony Walker Financial? In the very beginning.
I came on as your bookkeeper in 2017 and then came on in more of a full-time role in 2019.
And describe to the audience your role in terms of the income planning department and the things you do in the tax planning department as well.
Right. So I came into the income planning department, really enjoy setting up those game plans for our clients. And as well, I'm involved with tax planning as far as R&D prep and Roth conversions and those types of things for our clients.
And that's the good thing. If our clients have questions or they're contemplating Roth conversions and QCDs and all these fancy terminologies that the government gives us, you and TJ are there to make those calculations and help us make sure if it's really something fit for them.
Yeah, that's something that's very rewarding in our job, is we make sure that we can make those things easy to understand. They sometimes bring along a lot of anxiety for our clients because they don't understand them, so we try to make it very easy for them and implement them in our office for them.
And now that you've been there for several years, tell the audience what's the most enjoyable thing about working here.
Well, we have a great staff. So it's always a pleasure to come in to work every day, and that is so beneficial for all of us. But it's also about showing people that giving them those game plans so that they can get ready for retirement and, again, alleviate a lot of the anxiety that comes along with that.
Oh, well said. Well, thank you for all you do, Leanne.
Sure, Tony. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. We're talking about doing the things you love doing, and assuming you get a long life expectancy out there past retirement, or maybe you're one of those who are kind of like me thinking, man, I don't know, it's may not last as long as we're thinking. Let's get on this and start enjoying the money. I'll bring up an example, again, yesterday in the Louisville office as we record this show on March 12th, 2024. I had 18 appointments yesterday. So, folks, again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've literally met nearly 20,000 savers in person. I've orchestrated and overseen more than 5,000 written game plans. Been doing this almost 40 years. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this thing on retirement. And I guess you can chalk it up to having a degree in psychology or whatever. Aaron, you know how I am. I love knowing how other people, how they think, how they tick. You know my passion for that. So this couple let me give you an example. So this couple comes in yesterday. Both are 62. Both want to retire. They almost are looking at me, Aaron, like, I don't even know why we're here. We've been told we don't have enough money to retire. But we just thought we'd come in. I don't know if it's the TV. They're just like, I guess they thought, what the heck?
They were bored, whatever. They didn't have anything else to do.
So they came in for a second opinion. So I sat down, as I always say, what brings you in today? And they basically said that. We've been watching you on TV or whatever it was, saw your commercials. We're just wanting to know if we can retire. Of course, I always follow it up with, why are you wanting to retire? And it's interesting. This is coming up more and more. And I'm a grandparent now. She said, we're trying to help our daughter with her 2 children, and we just want to help our grandchildren. In other words, I think the daughter, I don't know, there's some financial pressures at home, whether it's daycare, school, picking them up from school. I guess what they're just saying basically is we want to enjoy our grandkids while they're still young, and nobody's helping them at least show them a way, Aaron, how they can maybe retire and do that. So wouldn't you think that's pretty important if somebody's 62? I did ask them about their parents and things like that. I think only one parent's still alive, so they're thinking about that. They're not going to live forever. And they got these little grandkids that aren't going to stay young forever. You can picture that. I know you don't have grandkids yet, but how quickly have you watched your kids grow up? It's gone by pretty quick, isn't it? What is Preston now? How old is
Preston will be 14 in June.
Yeah, so I remember when Preston was born, that seems like yesterday. Folks, the same thing is going to happen to you in retirement. You're going to start looking, in this example, at these grandkids, and they love you to death. There'll be a day when they walk right by you and act like they don't know you. I've heard about this phenomenon, so I'm going to try to enjoy my grandkids now. So I told these folks, I said, here was the question I asked. I said, I think I can help you pull this off, but I've got to ask you a question. All right, here it goes. What are you willing to sacrifice in the future in order to do the things you love doing today? And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, come on now, what is it? And he said, money? I said, bingo. You see, folks, when you make decisions on retirement, whether you're going to work longer, work less, spend more, spend less, spend time with the grandkids, it always comes down to a sacrifice over money. But that's where you must understand that the simplest things in life, spending time with the grandkids, sometimes they don't require that money. Now, will that affect you down the road? Let's think about this. Let's say you have $500,000 in a 401k. Let's just run with this. This is kind of interesting. We got the 2 62-year-olds. They're both eligible for Social Security. They got a little bit in savings, and they have $500,000 in a 401k plan. In their mind, there is no way they're going to be able to retire. All right, and in my mind, they can. All right, where there's a will, there's a way. Now, I started looking at their debts. I started looking at everything. I'm going to put a plan together. By the way, folks, if you go through this process, let me explain how this works because it's very interesting. And I've done this a long time, and a lot of people, I met with a gentleman yesterday, Aaron. I said, okay, we're going to meet for 30 minutes today. Today is what I call a fact-finding mission. All I'm doing is looking at his tax returns, his investments, goals, concerns. We call it a vision exercise. That's what I was doing these 2 people. Now, this one gentleman, it was funny. I could tell he's pretty analytical. When I said the next appointment will be in about 3 weeks, we'll show you the assessment, it'll last about 30 minutes. And he looked at me and goes, you telling me you can lay all this out in 30 minutes? I said, I guarantee I can. But I said, now what's going to be interesting, sir, is you're going to be able to take this with you. You don't have to make any decisions. You're probably going to want to think about this, and we can have another appointment. So, folks, we're not going to rush this process along unless you want us to move forward quickly. We're going to talk about deadlines in a minute. The point of retirement planning is understanding cash flow and understanding there's always a cost to everything. So back to our couple who's wanting to retire now so they could spend time with the grandkids. How are we going to take a $500,000 401k, figure out when to take Social Security, what to do about the next 3 years of health care costs and premiums because, until they get to Medicare supplement age, that's going to be an issue. How do we pull all this off? Well, this is where I've learned to describe retirement planning as more of an art than a science. You see, Wall Street and a lot of the people out there, a lot of these fancy schmancy financial planning designations and everything, they have not understood yet that retirement planning is more of an art than it is a science. And with any artist, there has to be experience, there has to be vision, there has to be an understanding of the subject they're working with, and this is why we're so good at what we do at Tony Walker Financial. Quite frankly, this is why we don't work with investors and speculators. That's not our market. Our market is an understanding of the saver. We realize these savers need help. We realize they're very trusting people. They don't trust all the time Wall Street and a lot of this stuff going on. They just want things simple, and they want to enjoy the fruits of their labor. We understand that, and through our experience, know how to put that together. So in this example, what I'm going to come back with this person, again, we just met yesterday, so in about 3 weeks, Aaron, same thing. I'm going to come back with an assessment personalized for them. It's going to be about a 30-minute appointment, and I'm going to be able to show them how they can cover whatever they want to do now, realizing that they might have to sacrifice more down the road. Are you with me?
Okay.
All right. So let's kind of role play there a minute. Now, we'll show them how they're not going to run out of money, but when I say sacrifice, think about it just intuitively, Aaron. If you spend money now that you were saving for the future, that means in the future you will have less money, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So that's the decision a lot of people have to make. And that's why the live well, die broke philosophy that I've come up with is so unique to the industry. What the live well, die broke philosophy says, again, through our experience, through the creative work we've done over the years in helping so many savers is, more than likely, in most cases, as you get older, you will not need as much money as you think. It just doesn't happen, folks. Look at, many of you listening to this show right now, look at your parents or grandparents in their 80s or 90s. Again, barring some sort of catastrophe health-wise, these folks don't spend a lot of money. So what they've been duped into believing is they will need all of this money. So in this case, Aaron, what's going on, I think, in these 62-year-olds' mind is they've been led to believe there's no way you'll be able to retire.
Right.
You've got to keep working. So what they do, they put off doing what they love to do. You see what I'm saying?
We talked about this a few weeks ago about how that 80-plus-year-old generation right now, they came out of the Depression. So their mindset, their whole life has just been save, save, save. You know, just you're going to need it. You're going to need it. And now I'm sure a lot of them are realizing, well, I didn't need this much.
Yeah, I call that the more money than you know what to do syndrome. A lot of times, Aaron, when I've been at an appointment, they'll look at me real shocked when I look at somebody and I'll say, you got more money than you know what to do with. They really don't think they do. And I know they do just by experience. So, folks, when I come back, we're going to dive into something that I did recently. I did a live well, die broke moment. Speaking of live well, die broke moment, I treated my son Anthony, my brother Marty, and his son Wes, my favorite nephew, by the way, who works at Tony Walker Financial, to an all-expense-paid trip to Las Vegas. And something we did, not only golf, but one of the shows we viewed the last night we were there that actually turned out to be a wonderful experience. And it deals with this subject of love. This is kind of cool stuff coming up. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker along with Aaron Norender, and we will be right back.
Did you realize that if you have more than $250,000 in retirement assets, the government could tax as much as 40% of it when you go to take it out? And with current tax rates set to expire in 2025, the taxes you will owe on your 401k could climb even higher. Don't wait until 2025 to see how much Uncle Sam will take of your money. Get a game plan by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no-obligation appointment. Let us help you today. With the uncertainty of the stock market, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. To talk to me at no cost or obligation, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
In 1984, a classic song sung by the late, great Tina Turner hit the shelves called What's Love Got to Do with It? We just got through playing a little bit of that for you. Great song. It was written by Graham Lyle and Terry Britton. Ironically, this is Tony Walker, by the way, with Aaron Orander. Do you think, this is according to what I read about Miss Turner, do you think she loved that song, What's Love Got to Do with It? What do you think? What do you think the obvious answer is?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She made a lot of money off of it, so, probably, I guess.
Actually, they said in an interview she never really liked the song.
She never liked it?
So I thought that was kind of funny. And like you said, I hadn't thought about it. No telling how much money she made. I'm sure she loved the money.
She loved that money, I'm sure.
Yeah. So basically, but I think about this, what's love got to do with it? It's got everything to do with it. The problem is, folks, in case you're just now joining us, we're talking about trying to do things you love to do, i.e. enjoying this money that you've worked so hard to save. And that's the part of the worry-free retirement that's so different. We're trying to help people enjoy whatever money they've got while reminding them, like we just shared in our last example of the 62-year-old couple that I think could go on and retire and enjoy spending money with their and time with their grandkids, that you can do some of the things you think you can't. Money is not always the answer. In fact, there was an interesting survey. I can't, Aaron, I lost the source of this. I apologize, but you can Google this kind of stuff all day long. Now, let me cover this real quick. This is interesting. Let's go back to jobs. Now, I'm going to give 4 examples of jobs, okay? And this title of this particular survey, the first question was, of all the jobs I'm going to list, Aaron, what do you think is the most satisfying? I don't want you to answer the question yet. I'm going to give you 4 options, but don't answer it. Okay, first, financial advisor. That's what I am. Teacher, clergy, or firefighter. Okay, so of those 4 jobs, which one do you think is has the most job satisfaction? Now let's keep moving before you answer that, Aaron. Same answers, but different question. Of these 4, financial advisor, teacher, clergy member, or firefighter, which profession pays the most money? Let's go and answer that one. What do you think?
Okay, I think probably a financial advisor gets paid the most or the best, however you want to say it. I would say probably the financial advisor.
You are correct. Okay, now let's go back to the most satisfying job. So if the financial advisor gets the most money, wouldn't you think they would have the most satisfying job?
You would, yeah. I mean, like maybe on the surface level, you might think, well, yeah, they must be the happiest people.
And this list, which actually it's a laundry list of probably 15 jobs that people love, so to speak, guess what? Financial advisor didn't even make the list.
Wow.
Guess what the number 1 job satisfaction is? Which position?
Out of those 4, I would have guessed, I would guess teacher.
Teacher. Actually, that's probably what I would have said. Actually, it's clergy. So think about this. Isn't this ironic? According to this study, I might have a clergy member riding down the road, saying, that don't include me, buddy, or whatever. But let's assume that's correct. And most clergy, unless you're working for a big mega church or something, I've met a lot of clergy, they don't make a lot of money. But they're the most satisfied. And what I would probably say is, for somebody committed to the clergy, they probably not only love the Lord, I'm sure, but they just love serving people. And the money is not the object. I mean, why would you get into the clergy if,
can't serve money and God.
Yeah, you just can't do it. So kind of interesting, and I think it proves the point that money is not always the answer. Now, money can allow you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. I'm going to give you a live well, die broke moment, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but folks, this is the stuff you better do. I haven't even told my wife how much I spent on this trip, but I decided to treat my son Anthony, who loves golf. I love golf, folks. I'm just not very good at it. My son Anthony, my brother Marty. Actually, Marty's taken up bowling again. We grew up behind a bowling alley in Lexington.
My dad bowled for a number of years. I loved the bowling alley.
I think he could easily toss his clubs in the water the way he played the other day and just go bowling. He's got 2 bowling balls, and this guy's tighter than a drum. I said, are you serious?
Obviously, you're not a golfer.
But anyway, so he and then my favorite nephew, Wes, Marty's son, we went to Vegas. Played 3 really cool golf courses. One of those was on my bucket list. Anybody who plays golf knows of Shadow Creek. We stayed in a nice place, spent a lot of money. I was fine to do it, happy to do it. Remembered a time in my life when I couldn't have afforded to play the Munich courses. I didn't have any money back in the day, so I'm just thankful to have the money, and I wanted to treat them to it. Great time. But here's what's funny, Aaron. After all that beautiful golf and everything, my brother, who loves the Beatles, remember the group The Beatles, I said, hey, Marty, I want to treat you, early birthday present. We're going to go to a show by the Cirque du Soleil. You've heard me talk about this troubadour group of performers. Great institution, organization. And it was called The Love Beatles. I think that's how, Beatles Love or whatever. It was just a show about the Beatles, but the performers, they're singing, all this acrobatic thing. You know, the whole time I'm going, I hope Marty likes this because he loves the Beatles. You know, some people might think, oh, that was awful. That did no justice to the Beatles.
Right.
Yeah. So we walk out of there and I said, all right, Marty, what'd you think? He said, that was amazing. So it was just so cool that he enjoyed that so much. In fact, Marty loved the Beatles so much, he took up playing drums when he was only 4 years old, and he was good. My parents were musicians. And in the talent show at Glendover Elementary in Lexington, I'll never forget, there's a picture we've got of this we'll put on the TV show, him playing drums and a bunch of his buddies. They had on these black wigs like the Beatles, and they were calling themselves the Beatles. It was hilarious.
Did he put glasses on and like draw a beard like Ringo Starr?
Yeah, actually in the 60s, those guys didn't have any facial hair.
Oh, they probably didn't look like that.
No,
See,
no.
the different
There you go,
generations, that's
Derek.
what I'm thinking.
And Derek's going over there, who's the Beatles? Look at him, he's lost, he's clueless now.
I may be an idiot, but I'm not stupid.
It is funny, this age difference in this studio, folks. We have more fun with this because I'm getting on up there in years. Aaron's kind of middle of the road. We got young Derek, and I'm always throwing out all this old stuff, waiting to see if you guys even know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the thing, though, what I want to touch on. Who is Cirque du Soleil? How could they pull off this performance, pulling off this Beatles performance, enjoying so much of what they do? If you like this kind of stuff, and I love this kind of stuff, what motivates these performers to do what they do? And many of these performers, folks, it's been admitted, they could make a lot of money on their own, but they choose to work as a team to create these wonderful shows all over the world. Again, the company is called Cirque du Soleil. Well, there was a book written, great book, I would encourage you to read it, called The Spark, written by John Bacon. I've read it many times over, and here's what I wanted to point out. Of all the things he studied about this troubadour group, Cirque du Soleil, Mr. Bacon found this out. I thought this was so interesting. I'll quiz you on it, Aaron. Of all the things they do, they're a very creative group. The one key to their creativity, I've got the book here. I'll grab it here real quick. I had the page marked. Yeah, creativity requires inspiration. That's true. Collaboration, trust of others, all that's true. But there's one key element I've never thought about to creativity. You want to take a guess?
You know, we talked about this in my first initial guess to it was routine. That was the first thing
Routine.
I said was
Very good.
Routine. Just, you know what works, so keep doing that and make sure you do it in a timely fashion, things of that nature.
That's a very good guess, and that I would include that in the list. But surprisingly, let's get a drum roll, Derek. All right, it's deadlines. Let me repeat that. According to Cirque du Soleil in this book, The Spark, the key to being creative and accomplishing wonderful things in life, doing things you enjoy doing, loving all this stuff, it's not all this other stuff. That's important. The key is setting deadlines. And I think about that is so true in our lives. So I'm going to leave you, as we close up this show, with this deadline. And the deadline is today. Today could be that day, folks, that you get to talk to the owner of the company. Somebody has done this for nearly 40 years, has over 3,000 clients, most of whom are already retired, has 19 full-time people to help serve the needs of savers, is available to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. That's me, Tony Walker. Why don't you take advantage of what we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call? Do it today. You can either log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started button, or you can call us at 877-499-9255. If it's on the weekend or at nights, we have a 24-hour answering service. Just give them your name, phone number, and tell them you want to speak to the owner of the company, Tony Walker, and we will arrange that free fiduciary phone call. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. We've enjoyed being with you as always. But you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.